Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Oh, what have I got going on here? Hang on. Here we are. How you doing? Welcome to hey, Lachlan and Brian. How's things? Very kind, Brian. And Ronim, maybe? How you doing? Welcome from Morocco. All right. So let's have a look at what we're doing. Lachlan says more Glenn. We always need more Glenn. Absolutely. All right. We're working on a design. So we're working on this one here. So the usual Friday thing. Let's take someone's design and butcher it in Xamarin.Forms. So this is a really, really nice design by Nyat M. Tran called the coffee ordering animation. So we're going to basically keep working on this one. We did a little bit of work on this last week, and we got sort of the got this panel going here, including a bit of swiping going on as well. Today, I thought we might sort of tackle this this sort of front page that we have going on here, and maybe see if we can do some of these like flippy numbers, or even use some paths to do this sort of interesting radio button that they have going on here. So yeah, it's a really, really nice animation. Yeah, something that should be nice to go and implement. Lachlan says it's a nice background. Actually, it's my desktop. So this is running Wallpaper Engine. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Will I work on Maui someday? I will work on Maui someday. Once that probably gets a little bit more stable, but it's almost time to start diving into it. Yeah, but definitely, given that Maui is the future, I'll definitely be moving across to that. Alrighty, so let's have a look at our Lachlan, you slept through the community stand-up. Yeah, so did I. It happens at a pretty awkward time for us here in Australia. So, yeah, I didn't catch that either. But maybe if somebody did catch up on it, they can let us know if there was anything amazing going on in there. I'm sure there was. All right, so we've captured some screens here. We've got some colors and we've got some fonts out of here. I was thinking, yeah, maybe today we'll sort of try and tackle as much of this sort of first page here as we can. And I was thinking, you know, there's this cool animation for these numbers animating. So if we come and have a look here, we can see it. Basically, this animation here. And I was thinking about how I could do that. And Skier Sharp seems the obvious way of doing that. But the other approach that we could use, maybe I'll give it a go, is remember we did ourselves a UI challenge quite a while ago where we did a pizza shop like this, and when we increment the values here, we have this little sort of rotating quantity and the price. Maybe we can use that sort of same concept to do what we're trying to do here. It's pretty similar to what they're doing with these numbers here. So maybe we can try that. And if not, if that doesn't work, which it may not work, then maybe what we can do is we can use Skier Sharp. But you know, I prefer to try. Like, one of the things I like to do in these challenges, just try and do as much stuff in Xamarin.Forms as I can, even if it's not necessarily the best way of doing it. So I'm going to try to do it with labels. See what happens. All right. Before we do that, let's get a bit of this design for this first page going. All right. So what do we need? We need a picture of a mocha frappuccino, as you do. We've got our fonts here already. Let's have a look at what happens when we go to Google and we type in mocha frappuccino. And see what we get here. So we probably want something with a transparent background. So let's go and look for transparent backgrounds and mocha frappuccinos. Draw the frappuccino in Skier. I'd love to. It's a good idea. Look, that looks like a mocha frappuccino. It's got a bit too much white space around it, but maybe we can save this image and we'll go and we'll put it somewhere. God, look at my desktop's a mess. All right. So what I want to do is I want to basically grab myself another artboard here. Oh, that looks a bit big. There we are. I'll add myself in a rectangle here and I'll import that image. All right, beautiful. We got a frappuccino. We didn't have to do it in Skier Sharp. We like that. And the problem with this image is that it's got a bit too much white space around it. So we can solve that by basically pasting that into a rectangle and then adjusting the size of it like so, until we get something about the right size. Right, let's maybe make that a little bit wider. And then we'll reposition this. Oh, yeah, something like that will probably do us. Maybe I'll pull it back in to get a little bit more of that shadow. I reckon that's a pretty good frappuccino. And in fact, I'd almost say it's the same frappuccino that they're using. There we go. So let's I don't even know how to spell frappuccino. Frappuccino. Registered trademark. Beautiful. So let's get that one. Let's add that in. Let's go and export that. And we'll just put it as a PNG. We'll go and we'll put this in our project. I don't even know where it is. Where is it? In our coffee. Android. Lovely. Probably wants to go under there, I'd suggest. Export the Frappo. And we should also export it as well for iOS. So how's everyone going anyway? Hopefully everyone's doing well. It's getting close to Christmas. I have Christmas lights. Did anyone notice the Christmas lights? Look, I have Christmas lights. Hey, Mr. Rocksmith family. And hi, Bill. How you doing? All right, so we got Christmas lights. That's one thing. Beautiful. All right, we've got our image out. Let's our application's already running, which is probably not what we want. So let's go and come into our resources. Mocha Frappuccino. Why didn't I call that something simpler? Let's go and include those in our project. Lovely. And we should do the same thing for iOS as well. All the Mocha Frappuccinos. Probably I should add in a view model at some point. I'm not going to bother with it right at the moment because I'm just going to focus in on the design side of things. All right. So we had a oh, actually, before I do that, I probably want to get the fonts in as well. So I think we decided that Open Sans was the way to go. So I'm going to cancel this build, as you do. Let's add the font in, because if we add the font in, then we can design the screen while we're running. So I'm going to add a folder here called fonts. And we'll add in, oops, not a new item, we'll add in some existing items. And somewhere, normally I have this folder full of fonts. These are the ones that are most often used. Okay, so what do we want? Semi-bold and light, I think. Beautiful. Bring those in, make those puppies embedded. Lovely. All right, and let's use our export font or whatever it's called. What is it? Assembly export font. And then we want the name of the font. So we have Open Sans Light.ttf. And the alias is, let's call it something like, I don't know, let's call it light font. How about that? That seems about right. And we'll also add in semi-bold. And not surprisingly, we're going to call this semi-bold font. Amazing. All right. This is so much easier than it used to be. It's awesome. All right, let's give this a build. All right, looks like we're in a good shape. Let's spin it up and let's add some...
sometimes things don't
Today
work.
we're gonna code
Oh,
lots
sometimes
with Mr. Kim
things don't
Phil
work.
Potson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Hey, thanks for that follow. Cesare Martini. I love butchering people's Twitch handles. All right, something went bad. What happened? Could not link native shared library lib Xamarin app SO. What on earth does that mean? Anyone know what that means? I don't know what that means. Let's give it another build. There is the most terrifying errors, the ones that we don't know what they are. I think you're absolutely right, Lachlan. I think it's exactly what it means. It means go get a coffee. Here we are. All right. Yep. So a clean rebuild. Hey, nothing like clean and rebuild to get you going again. All right, beautiful. So let's have a look. Let's go attack our main page here. Boom, boom, boom. What do we got? We've got our front card here. We've got we got a box view for the background. We've got a button, which is our add to bag. Cool. What do we have? We've got 4 rows. So we've got kind of like a, whoa, we've got a row that takes up the most of this. And then I think the 25 at the bottom was for this bit here. We've got an auto section here, an auto section there. Okay. All right, let's start off with our image, hey? Oh God, now I've got to remember how to spell mocha frappuccino. There's no chance. Mocha frappuccino. That didn't work, did it? It didn't work at all. How many C's in mocha? Just 1. Whoa! So you got that mocha frappuccino. All right. I probably don't have to put this in grid row 0, so let's just leave it there for the moment. Instead, let's add some text in here. All right, let's have a look at our design here. So I think for this section here. Okay, so we had 4 rows. So we had it like this. We have 1 here. We have an auto for this section. Then we perhaps have that one and then that one maybe. I don't know. Let's find out. I think we can do this with a stack layout down the page. Sure, why not? All right, we probably have to create ourselves a style first of all. Actually, let's put it in and we'll use a refactoring, see if we can create the styles. So we'll have our text, mocha. Spell mocha. I don't know. Registered trademark. We use this fancy little thing here. Registered sign, mocha frappuccino. Add this into grid row 1. Whoops. In fact, what we probably want to do is we'll put a stack layout around this whole thing because we got more stuff to come. Mocha frappuccino in grid row 1. All right. I think this wants to probably be centered. In fact, I think this will want to have a margin. Beautiful. And then let's create a style for it. Let's make this header text. We'll target a label. Put in some setters for the font family. So we're going to want this to be a value of, what do we call it? semi-bold font. Let's just start off with a font size of like, I don't know, 30. We'll see how we go with that. We probably want a text color as well.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Hey, Joyce Zoid, welcome. It's a subscribed. Well done, thank you. Subscribe with your Prime. Remember, everyone, you've got Prime subscriptions if you've got Amazon Prime. So you may as well use that somewhere. And use as good as anywhere. So thank you, I appreciate it. Let's put a text color in there, and I broke it. Alrighty, so we got header text. Let's come back over here. Let's say the style of this equals. Use a static resource because I don't think we're going to be changing this. Yeah, that didn't work very well. Can't spell style. Still didn't work. Oh, I'm putting it on an image. Why didn't that blow up? It should have blown up. Mocha Frappuccino. All right. It's probably a bit big. Let's make it like 26. Let's try that. Mocha Frappuccino. Yeah, it looks a bit more believable. All right. Let's add another style in for our subtext. This one. Let's call this description. And we'll drop that one down, and we probably want text color light. All right, let's come back over to our page, and let's put in another label here. Description text. Oops. Something like that. And then I have to get the text. So what's our text? Buttery caramel syrup meets coffee, milk, and ice for a rendezvous in the blender. Overdose of sadness. Oh, that's a little bit sad. Question. Let's have a look at that question. Is Xamarin Native better than Xamarin and Flutter? Hello. I don't think any's better than the other. Let's look at it that way. I think if you're my personal viewpoint is you use whatever's right. I think if you're more into, sort of web stuff, React Native's probably a good place to go. If you're into C#, Xamarin's a good place to go. And if you just like doing everything in C#, Flutter is probably a way to go as well. So I think the thing with Flutter is, it's sort of pretty popular. If you like Dart as a language, then it's probably a pretty good option. So I don't think any's better than the other. I think you use whatever you like. For me, I like C#, and so it works really well. I think maybe the days of sort of saying one is definitely better than the other is probably over. But, opinions vary. I'm just going to move that over there so I can put this text in. So hopefully Hopefully that avoids your question. Overdose of sadness. But, you know, feel free in the chat to disagree. Oops. Let me get this out of the way so I can see what I'm typing. Blah, 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 blah. Lachlan disagrees. All right, Lachlan, tell us your viewpoint. I suspect you're just trolling, you know. You just love to disagree. All right, so I think that's not a bad representation. Let's have a look. You just like trolling, exactly. Okay, so we got some nice thing there. I think the font's a little bit big. Xamarin's your Xamarin. All right, cool. So we got that there. All very cool. Let's go and add this in. So this section here, I'm going to do this in a grid, I feel. This is going to be a grid with maybe 2 rows there. And then this will probably end up being a control with three elements inside. Let's just start off with a 2 wide grid. Don't want to do this in the style. Let's do it in the XAML page. So we'll say we'll have 2 columns. Let me just scroll this up a bit. Is there any performance difference in Xamarin.Forms by using static resource versus dynamic resource? I would say there is. So static resources basically mean that you set them once and that's it, right? So they got different use cases. So static resource, look, I'm not imagining this changing, right? But dynamic resources allow you to attach to a resource, but if that resource changes, it's going to dynamically update it. And that's cool if you're wanting to change the style or the color dynamically, but I think it has the extra overhead of actually adding, it's hooking up to be notified of when that dynamic resource changes or that resource value changes. So it's kind of got an extra thing that's looking at it, whereas a static resource just goes, sets it once, and we're done. So my view is you should use static resources unless you think it's going to have to change dynamically. That's, I don't know, that would be my viewpoint. I'm not aware of the actual numbers. I've never done a real comparison, but yeah, that's my viewpoint on when you should use them. So let's do this. Let's go star auto. And then inside of here, in our second column, I'll add I can probably, no, I probably want a bit more control over how I do these. So I'm going to go column definitions of, and I might be a bit more explicit about how I set these up. Let's see what happens if I do that. And then just for giggles, let's go and add in let's see what colors we've got here. So we got this sort of light grey color. So I figured we could try using shapes for this, or an SVG. Excuse me, got an itchy eyeball. Let's have a look at this color here. What have we got? The F8s. Nice. So just to get our size right, all right, that's not what we want. We want this probably in grid row 2. Nope. 0, 1, 2. Actually, probably we need to give this a height request. No, that's not it. You know what we should use here is debug rainbows, probably. But for the moment, let me just yellow. All right. So it's not in 2, it's in 1. What have we got here? We've got a star for the top. Let's think about this. We've got, what do we really want? We want, so this is the section here that would want to shrink, right? So it wants to be in its own thing. So we'll make this a star. And then I think we want this one. I think we probably want another row in there. Which of course means that we're going to want to move this down into 3. And we put this one into 2. There we are. That's better. Actually, it's not that much better, is it? The only problem with grids really is adjusting. Grid row 4. What's going on here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, so it's in grid row 0. This is in grid row 1. This is in grid row 2. Do I want to become famous? I don't think I do. So this should definitely be down in 4. And this one should be in 4 as well. What do we have? Why is that not spacing correctly? Do. That's better. There we go. That's what we're after. All right. So do we have a border color? We don't have a border color. Maybe we should do this just with shapes to start off with. Actually, just to get it right here, let's just do this. Let's just say grid column 0. There's our 3 boxes. Let's add a little bit of spacing around that. Okay, that'll look a bit better. Beautiful. Why don't we actually move this to using rectangles? But actually, before we do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in this bit of text here. So in order to do these different sizes, I think we're going to have some different labels. Okay, but we'll turn this into a control later on. So we'll have let's make this horizontal. Let's go and add in a label. Pound sign. See if we can find a pound sign. We can add a Bitcoin in. Pound sign. Sure. All right, let's just do this. Let's just add in $3.45. We'll get back to this later on. Beautiful. Ish. All right. Let's make this vertically centered. All right, let's come up with another. I'm going to actually create two styles here. I'm going to create one which is small currency text. And I'm going to have another one which is large currency text. All right, and so we'll make this one small currency text, large currency text, and then these others small. Well, that's ugly. Let's add in vertical options of center. We'll see if that fixes it. Beautiful. And we'll maybe make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's the general vibe. Perhaps the spacing's a little bit too much. So that spacing between the characters is going to be on this stack layout. So let's set the spacing to 0 for that. There we are. That's a little bit nicer. All right. That kind of look like that, except we've got 2 bars in our pound sign. I don't know why. $3.45. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay at the moment. We'll turn it into a proper control. Now with these ones, let's start using rectangles for them. Now I don't know whether rectangle is, whether we need to put an experimental flag in for that. So we'll say our fill color. Oh, this is a brush, isn't it? I saw a bug about this the other day because I think this will not work. If I just grab this. Yeah, that's then going to say, it's going to give us an error here. What's that saying? 50. Yeah, whereas if I put in, no, that's just not happy at all. And I think the reason why is because we need to actually add in that experimental shapes flag. Yeah, I think we need this one here. Let's restart that. I think that'll solve our problem.
Sometimes things don't work.
Or not. Expected something here. Okay, expected not to have a dot there. That would be a good start. Has anyone got any cool Christmas presents coming? I'm going to get some games for Christmas, I think. Let's say our stroke is, I think I'm going to have to use these colors directly, actually. All right, let's try this. Let's give it a width request of 60 and a height request of 60. Of course, this one here is actually going over top of it. So let's get rid of that one. Hey, we got a rectangle. Stroke thickness of, say, 2. And maybe a corner radius. Yeah, that's nice. That's pleasant. And let's grab our light accent color. Selected one. That's actually a selected size background. It doesn't look right. Maybe it is. Yep, it is. There we are. We've got our background. It's green. Beautiful. And then for these other rectangles, we want to have I think it's probably this color here. Let's have a look. Actually, let's do this. Let's get you out of the way. Let's grab each of our colors here. So when we are selected, we have that, and that is the background. When we're not selected, we want the background to be this color, and the border is probably the same as this. No, it's another shade. Beautiful. And our background, let's come back over, out of the way. That's it. Go away. Yep, it's at 1 ease. Okay, cool. So let's try this out. Let's come back over here and say the fill for this is going to be this. It's going to be in grid column 1. There we go. That looks about right. In fact, I'm going to just, at the moment, let's grab this one. Column 2. All right. That doesn't look too bad, right? All right. So the next thing we need is we need these cups, right? So I want to see if we can do this with shapes. So why don't we draw ourselves a cup and get a path from it? This will be interesting. Get rid of our fill there. All right, and then what we'll do, go away. Let's go and convert this to a path, because that should allow us to then come and select one of these individual elements here. And then move it out like that. There we are. That's almost what we're after. We'll move this one up a bit. All right. And let's give it a width of, say, 2. Yeah, that works. Let's create ourselves a rectangle then. The size of 2. And a corner radius of 2. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe this needs to come up a little bit. And then we'll copy that. And we'll move it up to here. But what we'll do is we'll make it a little less wide. I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, there we go. A little less wide, and we can actually get rid of the bottom rounding as well. All right. Dev tries to do UI. Get rid of that. There we are. That's kind of like a cup. Now what we want to do with these as well is we want to make sure these are all paths. So we'll convert these all to paths. And then we'll grab those 3 paths and group them together and call it cup. All right. So we should now be able to export that, or at least have a look at the path for it. So I'm going to export this as an SVG. Onto, your desktop as you do. And then I'm going to go and open that up. And see what we get. There we are. We got ourselves a little cup. Pretty. Actually, before we do that, hey, thanks for the follow. All right, let's add a little corner radius down the bottom of this cup before we get too carried away. Now, can we do it? That's what I'm not sure of. Now that it's a path. That's not what we want. That's not what we want at all. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kind of cheat here. I'm just gonna move this out of the way here for a second. I'm doing myself another rectangle here. With no fill and a width of 2. But what I'm going to do is give it a corner now. So basically say, let's give it a corner in the bottom left and the bottom right. There we are. And now, if I convert that to a shape, to a path rather, I can now come to this one and do that. There we are. That's probably a little better. Yep. Cool. Now I'll move this path underneath here. Get rid of that path. And we have our new cup. Beautiful. So let's export that again. And let's reload this. There we are. Now we've got little rounded corners. Beautiful. Okay. So now we see whether we can jam this into Xamarin.Forms. So we need to have a look at that SVG. In fact, there's some good tools. There's one called SVG OMG. Which allows us to I would have thought would allow us to open this, maybe not. Okay, that's no good. Let's have a look at this. Let's go and have a look at the contents of that. Oy, all right. Caught you online. It's 2 a.m. What are you not doing in bed? Oh my goodness. Bold bearded builder has just raided the channel. Hi everyone.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil.
Welcome.
Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Oh, so bold bearded builder is part of the live coders crew. So what have you been working on? You always have an entertaining stream. All our codes. How about all of my SVG codes belong to you? How about that? Let's see if we can make sense of some SVGs here. What we're doing, for those who have just joined in on the raid, what I like to do on my channels on a Friday is basically do UI design challenges. So we're gonna reproduce this UI in Xamarin.Forms. But bold bearded builder, that's hard to say. Learning about Blazor all week. Ah, fantastic. Fantastic. Signal R in a Blazor server. Ah, amazing. I'm gonna have to join in on your streams, I think, because Blazor is something I actually really want to learn. So yeah, so thanks for the raid, and welcome everyone. Cool. So you must be near the end of it if you're doing it all week. Yeah, triple B.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim.
Hey Scott, thanks for the follow.
How amazing you'll be.
All right. So let's talk about what we're doing here. We basically got a UI design that we found on Dribble, and what I like to do is I like to go and use Xamarin.Forms and reproduce UIs. So the sort of things that I sort of normally do is I will go and get various different designs and just implement them in Xamarin.Forms just to work out cool ways of doing things. So this is what we're doing. And Triple B, tomorrow is a fun stream with Carl Franklin. Yay, Carl. Talking Blazor. He has Blazor train, doesn't he? Blazor train? Is that right? Yeah, Blazor train. So yeah, this is really cool. I really love a bit of Blazor train.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
So I remember Carl Franklin from VB days. Just fun stuff tomorrow. Well, it's a good time for Christmas, right? So Christmas is upon us. Get some gifties for Christmas. Beautiful. Fantastic. Well, so is the stream must be around about this time or a couple of hours before this tomorrow. So I might join in. All right, so let's have a look at where we're up to in our app at the moment. So in our app at the moment, we've sort of got some various parts in here already. We've got we're basically putting this section here. If I hadn't done a hot reload, let me come back over here. Let's stop and start this. We already have a little bit of swiping going on with the front panel. And I should ask for people coming in from the Triple B stream. Anyone doing Xamarin? Or you're all too cool for that? You're all doing Blazor these days. We get ourselves 5 hours before. Wow, that's a long stream. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, there's a couple of really cool tools. There was another cool tool as well for dealing with SVGs. I'm just trying to remember what it's called. I saved the link the other day. So there's this one here. If you need to deal with, no, not that one. The path editor. There we are. This one here, right? Which will take your paths and basically go and grab it from the clipboard, take that path, and then basically put it into here, which is pretty cool. And then let's basically grab that. And this is a pretty cool tool actually, because you can go and get your SVGs and it has all of the commands in the SVG here, and will allow you to edit it, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's see if we can put this path in, see if it works. So guacamole, you've been wondering about Xamarin? Yeah, Xamarin's pretty cool. Let's see what happens if we put this path data in. Let's have a look. Let's spin this puppy back up. Let's see whether that works. Back on Python Flask and Forth. Wacky do. Let's see what we have here. Let's give it a stroke of 2. Stroke thickness of 2. Hi, Nasranoso. How you doing? Let's give it a width request of say 40 and a height request of 40. See if we can get a path out of this thing. No. Paths are not something I played with much. So we could have a massive fail. It's probably easy to do it with SVGs. Oh no, look, there's a cup. We got a cup. Vertical options of center. Horizontal options of center. That's not what we're after. There's a cup. That's interesting. It looks a little jaggy, right? Let's see what happens if we go and have a look at this full screen. Where's our size mode? Is that little scaly thing? Oh well, I'll just scale it. Let's make this. Oh yeah, no, our cup's smooth. It's just the way it was resizing when it was smaller. All right, so that's a path. We love paths. Paths good. Now the question is here, if I'm going to add a path in for each of these, we get our cup there, and we probably want this to have a stroke, something like that. Yeah, that's good. And we'll add one more in here. Beautiful. All right, starting to take shape with a bit of paths. We likey. Now the question here is, when I resize this, I say width request of 20 and a height request of 20. It seems to be cropping. I wonder if there's there is a scale. So maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what we should be doing. We should be saying scale of say 0.6. Oops, not that one. then a scale of, this one here should have a scale of 1. This one should have a scale of, say, 0.8. And this puppy should have a scale of 0.6. So there we are. Now we're going to have 3 different cup sizes. Let's have a look at it in a bit more zoomy. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, that's not a bad start. So that's probably a little bit easier than using an SVG. Of course, we should probably abstract that path there out to be, so we don't have it reproduced 3 times. But we got our 3 sizes. All right, what's next? Let's go back to our design here. I'm kind of interested. We need our small, medium, large text in there as well. So I don't really want to have 3 different SV or 3 different path data with the character in it. We might be able to use a label for that. Let's have a bit of a look around this thing here, shall we? Now I'm going to do this here. I'm going to put this at 28 and 48. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, cool. All right, and what's the time? It's 11. Maybe we should see if we can get this this text rotating. Doing a bit of flipping as we do that. All right. So in order to do that, like I said, we had a previous challenge that we did, which was this pizza one, which as we go through our various elements here, we are basically rolling those numbers over. I think we could probably use that for this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to steal some code for that. So that was in our pizza one. So we created this little control called a, it's got a really bad name. It's called a Ferris label. So I'm gonna basically steal a bit of code from there. See if we can use it. All right, so out of controls folder in here. Let's go and add in a new item. We're basically going to put a content view inside of here, and we're going to call this something like our flip. Let's call it like a flip text. All right, so I'm going to steal some code. So we've got a couple of labels. So the way we're going to do the flipping is we've got a couple of labels inside of here. Boom, like so. This is going to be a grid. Okay, which means our code behind needs to also be a grid. Lovely. And then we'll nab some of this code here for this. So we've got some bindable properties. Let me just steal this code first of all. All right. What do we got? So we've got some, oh, I've changed the name of this, so I'm going to have to correct a few of these. Lovely. All right. So the way this this basically works is it's really got two labels. It's got the current and the next label. And when we go and we rotate it like so, and we make this value change, we basically get the current label and we move it up and out. And then we get the next label, and then we start off with the opacity 0 and we bring it in. So it gives a nice little sort of rotation sort of look, which is kind of what we're after. All right, and I'm just wondering if we can basically just use this. So if we had a namespace in here, okay, beautiful. And give this a run, and we'll just try and change this label to be this flip control and see if we can get it looking similar. So if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask away. It's a pretty relaxed sort of a stream. So if you've got any questions, just shout out. Or during these as well, you know, if you see things that I'm doing that perhaps you know better ways of doing it, feel free to shout out as well. It's how we all learn together. All right. So what I'm hoping for here is if I put in a flip text here, and just set its text to be 45 to start with, and we put its text style to be the same as this one. All right, cool. So there we are. We can basically just drop that one in place. And if we change the value, it should do a little flip-a-doodle, right? Ancient Coder, what do you recommend for those that are new to Xamarin.Forms development? I would recommend, there's a few good YouTube channels that are definitely worth having a look at. Let me bring a couple of those up. So there's a couple of places you can go. So there's the Microsoft Learn content. Let's have a look at that. So Microsoft Learn is all free training. Now it's actually, to tell you the truth, is actually where I work on the Learn team. at Microsoft. But this has sort of a bunch of stuff that came from what was Xamarin University, and basically has free online training here. So that's good. Good old James Montemagno is always worth having a look at. So definitely go and have a look at that. Gerald has a lot of really great videos now. He's pumping out heaps of really good videos on this as well. So is that going through to chat? I hope that's going through to chat. Yeah. We like James? Yeah, we like James. So Gerald has a whole bunch of great videos he's putting out now. He's just pumping through them, covering, various parts here as well. And, he's got everything from like, creating bindable properties and using styles, all sorts of stuff here. So I spent some time consuming his video content, actually. It's really good. It's entertaining as well. So, yeah, I reckon between that and Learn, and of course things like the Xamarin show as well, they're good places. So hopefully that helps. All right. So we've got ourselves a flip control there. Now, what's interesting about this design is if we have a really close look at what it's doing here. Okay, it sort of rolls over the numbers. Now let me, what is this, a GIF? Yeah, it's a GIF, of course it's a GIF. So basically these numbers are sort of rolling up. Now, interestingly, they don't all happen at the same time. You see, they happen at different times, and it's actually a little bit random as well. Like this bottom one here, it doesn't go from here to here to here. Okay. It actually sort of swaps between them. So it's kind of a little bit of an interesting animation there. So we might want to have, I'm thinking that if we have one sort of flip control here, because this dollar point here doesn't change, and then we have another flip here, as we go and we assign a value to it, we can get these to sort of change at different rates or different speeds. All right, but let's just try this first of all. Let's let's add some gesture recognizers to these. So we'll have a small, a medium, and a large for the moment. And I think we'll probably refactor this into a control. But for the moment, Let's see if this gives us the effect we want. So we'll give this a name, this flip text. And I'm just literally going to say sense flip. I'm just going to give it 3 different values. I know this is terrible code, but I just want to see if it's going to work. And what we'll also do in here is
Today we're gonna code lots with
Hey,
Mr.
Starlight.
Kim, Phil Potts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Let's just put this in here. I need to give it a need to tell it how it should flip. So I have an animation offset. So what that determines is where the number goes from and to. So it's a point. So it's basically the offset. So we want it to be 0 and something like 20. Let's try that. And what I'm hoping is when I click on those different buttons, that text should sort of rotate in the new value. Let's see if it works. 12, 23, 43. Beautiful. So of course we're going to deal with the actual selection of these as well. So we can deal with that. I just want to see if that effect is okay. What do you think? Is that close enough? Can we live with that? One thing I do like about this, it does the individual letters. You see how it, the individual things, so it doesn't animate both of them in at the same time. It actually animates them in at sort of random times, actually. And it's a lot faster, but we can adjust that. Okay, so that's, what if we were to do that as, what about if we were to have a control which encapsulates multiple characters, and then when we assign text to it, it animates each of these individually. That might be a good approach. And then we can add a little bit of random starting time to them as well. All right. Now, before we do that, I'm going to have a quick, just a quick little break. So, hang on, a question first of all. How can I add, what's this question? How can I, let's have a look at the question. How can I move the items more below, like in iPhone scroll view, or like I can move from the items from a scroll view into the settings page? Oh. From a scroll view. I'm not sure. I don't quite know what you mean. Have you got an example? Oh. Inertia. Yeah, is that what you're referring to? See, on iOS, inertia is sort of just built into all this stuff, and Android, they tend to not do so much inertia. You could probably I mean, it's possible you could use easing to do it. It really depends on what you're trying to do. So if you can give us an example of what you're trying to do, Eddie, then maybe we can work that out. So it scrolls a little too far, then bounces back. In a scroll view, I don't think. See, is this type of thing here? Where it sort of bounces back. I think, yeah, I think most controls should support that, but if they don't, you could do something where you actually sort of extend it a little bit beyond and use even something like easings might do it. Let's have a quick experiment here. Let's try adding a little bit of easing to this animation. New view, yada yada yada. Spring in. Let's try a spring in here. And even add one in here as well. I'm not sure if this is what you're after, but let's just try spring out there. And that's not what you're after. That springs in the wrong direction, but you can see if it comes down. It'll overshoot a little bit. I'm not sure if that's what you're after. Because you're going to have to, if the control doesn't support it natively, I think you're going to have to actually allow it to go beyond where it should be and then use an animation to bring it back to where it needs to be. Cool. Anyway, I have to go for a quick bio break. So I'm going to put a timer on for 5 minutes or so. And then duck off to the gents, and I'll see you back here shortly. So usual things apply. If you leave, you get banned. All right, I'll see you shortly. Thank you. I was on mute. All right, but we're back now. Cool. So why don't we create a control which encapsulates sort of like these elements here, that actually has multiple of these flip texts inside of it, and then we animate them individually. Let's try that. All right, so we'll create ourselves another control. Called something like a flip label. All right. And this flip label is basically going to get, multiple characters. So like, A and B here, A and B. And it's going to have multiple flip children in it. And so we'll make this so it's like a stack layout that goes that way, that has two controls inside of it. And then we can animate these individually. I don't know. Let's see how this sort of rolls. So let's just inherit from a stack layout. We'll get rid of the content out of here for the moment. And we'll make this a stack layout. Beautiful. All right. And Bill, you thought your computer was acting up. No, it was me. It was me not muting. Well, not unmuting. All right. So let's have a method here to create our characters. And then inside of like our create characters, let's go and get, because this is a stack layout, we can get our children and we can clear our children. Then what we can do is we can add in our additional elements. So add in the characters. All right. So what we might want to have is we might want to have a bindable property. For number of characters. Which is an int. Okay. And so then we can basically come in here and go do a for loop for our number of characters. And then we can basically just go and create ourselves a new flip text. Oops, char's not going to work, is it? Okay. And we will set some properties on this puppy. So let's just start it with our text equal to nothing at the moment, or 0. Let's put it there. We'll set animation offset. We'll just make it 20 for the moment. We might want to create a bindable property on that. And then we'll add this into our children. Okay, so really we're adding this into a stack layout. Something like that. Okay, and when the number of characters changes, we'll want to go ahead and we'll want to create the characters again. Okay, and this is going to want to have a text property on it as well. So it's going to be a string. It's going to be for our flip label. Okay. And then when the text changes, we'll do some magic here. I don't know what that is yet. It's probably something like, we're probably going to want to go through each of the characters. Let's just try this. Go from a number of characters. We're going to want to basically get the text for the character. Okay. And so we'll basically want to split that new text up. So if we just went and got our new text for the character, which is I,
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim.
Hey, Wilderness Labs.
Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Thanks for the follow. And Brian Kostanich. How are you doing, Brian?
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing.
So I saw earlier today, Brian, that you were doing a show with Cecil, going through some of the cool Wilderness Lab stuff. So I saw that before I started streaming, which is awesome. And I actually have a Wilderness Labs device. Yeah, on a Meadow, that's right. So I've got one of those. I know Lachlan on the channel here has a I know Lachlan has a Meadow device as well. So it might be a good Christmas hack. Lachlan has two. Well, there you go. So my Christmas hack is going to be doing something with my Meadow. I'm not sure what it is yet. I think if I remember correctly, you were looking at a weather station on the stream that was earlier on. So the question for you, Brian, is can I do the weather station with the stuff that I have on a HackKit Pro? George, or do I need other bits? Totally just a hack kit. Cool. Oh well, there's my Christmas challenge. But you know what I got to do first? I got to solder the headers on. That's and I suck at soldering, so I'm kind of scared. Yeah, I heard you can buy them pre-soldered now. Yeah, and I know Glenn Stevens has one. Yeah, don't be afraid. That's true. I mean, they're pretty cheap devices. I just get out my soldering iron and just start stabbing at it and see how it goes. I'm sure there's some good YouTube videos on how to solder. Fantastic. You made a video. Oh, great. Feel free to throw it in the chat if you have it available. Okay, so I'm going to get this children eye. This is a little bit scary. Children eye is going to be a flip text. All right, so that should update it. There's some arts on the assembling page. Fantastic. All right, I'm gonna remember that one. So I'm gonna go and be brave, as you say. Don't be afraid. Be brave. Pull out the soldering iron. Get soldering. All right. So here's an example of the worst possible comment you can have. Do some magic. Brian, you say it's super easy and hard to screw up. I'll consider that a challenge. All right, cool. So we're going to update some text here. I should see if that will work as it is. And did I add a property? Did I add a property? I thought I had a bindable property. I have a text property. I have another bindable property, number of characters. Okay. This wants to be a flip label now. I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here to start with. Okay, I don't have a text style, so I want to add a bindable property for a text style. It's kind of a little bit cheeky. What I'm doing here is just basically coming through here saying when the text style changes, pass it down to the children. So the idea is that we're going to have a few different styles. So if we have a look back at our design, we've got a few different styles here. So I'm going to allow you to assign a style. For each item in children. Set the item style equal to new text style. All right. Let's see what this blows up. Quite a bit, I imagine.
Sometimes things don't work.
Yep. Was not found on flip label. Oh, we didn't. What did I call it? Textile? Yeah, textile. What's wrong with textile? That's because this here is actually a flip char, a flip text. Dot textile.
Sometimes things don't work.
Brian, you got to go make dinner? Yeah, well, good to see you, Brian. Go and have a nice dinner, and if I don't see you before Christmas, have a great Christmas as well. Thanks for dropping by. We don't have an animation offset. All right. This is the problem with controls, is you got to pass a lot of stuff back down. Okay, let's do this. A type of, let's make it a point. Okay. Oops. Okay, flip label. Let's go for each of our children. Okay, maybe.
Sometimes things don't work.
Maybe not. An example. Okay, so this should, let's have a look here. So this is the page here. Let me see if I can zoom this up. This is the question from earlier on. How do we do this thing where when we scroll, I like the little thank you in there. How can I move items more below, like on the iPhone? Yeah, so on an iPhone, you do that. Right. So normally, I guess what you'd want to have is you've got to have, well, actually, I'm not sure whether on Android collection view, Android widget. you might find that it should just be available in the so there's an overscroll on Android. Class encapsulates scrolling with the ability to overshoot. I bet you somebody's already written something about this. Disabling the bounce effect, that's not what you're after. You'd want to use the platform thing if you can. So this is how to disable it, but I'm pretty sure. So I would have thought that it would, the bounce effect. This will just be for iOS, I bet. Yep. That's how to turn it off on iOS. Like, I mean, you could hack it out with some Scroll View has a on overscrolled. If it's not doing it for you just out of the packet with a collection view, and I don't know, Lachlan, you might know off the top of your head, on Android, does overscrolling happen? I feel it does on iOS, but it doesn't on Android. So I'm not sure, but you know what? I'm going to make a note of this. Literally a notepad. So have a look at that and see if we can find you an answer for it. Overscroll on Android. Yeah, but I'd say that there's going to be something in Android. Maybe you have to write an effect or a renderer in order to do it. But that's going to be your best way. Otherwise, you could fake it with animations, but it's not going to be as smooth. So let me get back to you on that one. Yeah, no problems. No problems. Make a good blog post, actually. Good blog post. And there's also play audio in a question from Alpha Golf. There's the good old media element that will do audio for you. So that you could use, but there's also a plugin, isn't there? Yeah, that's the media plugin. Xamarin Media Main. There we are. There's a blog on the Media Manager. So that one you should be able to use. Looks like it supports all the things. So yeah, that would be my guess. Go and have a look at that one. All right, I was getting some errors, wasn't I? What was my errors? Oh, I think I haven't. As a my errors? No, that was my error. Okay. That's not what you're after. And the reason for that is going to be because we want to set the orientation on this bad boy. Horizontal. Going to make a bold assumption that horizontal is what people are after. It's what I'm after in this one anyway. Why does everyone on Twitch use that ugly language? Which ugly language? Aren't all languages beautiful? All right. That's pretty cool. C#, you don't like it? Fair enough. You don't have to like it. What would be your language of choice? Let's put a spacing of 0 here. It's not playing very nice with hot reload. C? That's just because you're hardcore. I started on C. C++. But then I got sick of me failing to clean up my memory properly. Okay, so that's going to swap in between individual ones, which is cool. But the slight problem here, or the slight difference between what's in the design and this one, is these numbers actually swap at different positions, right? So in other words, when both of these change, they both happen at the same time. But I don't want that. Okay, at least we got individual ones scrolling, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's try something crazy. Something so crazy it just might work. So here, we basically run through and we say, let's go and update each of those elements of text. What about if instead we create a bunch of tasks and then we do them with different delays? What do you think? Is that going to work for us? So here's a question. I have a question that might sound stupid. No question stupid. Why are you doing the animation if on the GIF it showed different animations when hovering and clicking? So I'm assuming what you're referring to is, oops, that's not what I'm after. So this is just because I haven't put so at the moment, am I running? I'm not running. Let me launch it up. At the moment, I'm just doing this sort of a little bit cheeky, right? So I'm not actually, this here I'll turn into some sort of control, which is like a radio group. And then do, when I select this one, this rectangle will animate to there, and these will change colors and yada, yada, yada. all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's no real hover on a mobile. But yeah, it's just because I'll get around to it. Don't worry. All right, I'm going to create a collection of tasks here. I'm going to create a random thingamajiggles, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a task for updating each character. I kind of suck at tasks, so we'll see how this goes. Hey Player L, thanks for the follow. So now you're followed, you can come back and you can see this horrible language again and again. I'm only joking, of course. But it just depends. It's like language choices and platform choices. It's all, whatever's best for the job. And I'm pretty sure what I'm doing here is not best for the job, but I'm just going to try it anyway. So let's, here, I'm going to have a problem with enclosures, aren't I? Wait on. Let me do this. Current char equals I. And then I'm going to say task I is a new task. Right? We'll make it an async. I don't like the language, but my attitude. Wait on. You mean my attitude's all right, hopefully? Anyway, I think I know what you mean. Like, there's heaps of languages I don't like that other people use very successfully. All right. So, AlphaGolf, I've been liking C# a lot lately now that Microsoft's been introducing cross-platform tools to allow using it on a Mac. Yeah, you can do all the .NET Core goodness. Check this out. This is gonna be a terrible thing to do. This is gonna be horrible. Somewhere between, let's just throw some values in here, 0 and 300. All right, I just want to see if this works. So I'm creating a task. I'm going to make this delay for a little bit. And then I'm going to basically put this code in here. All right, so we start a task. Each task does a delay for some amount of time. Player L, kind of old school, a Unix user. See, like Unix, here's a good example, right? Like Unix in the right hands is awesome, right? Unix in my hands, not so awesome. I'm going to do this. All right, because we're going to be updating the UI and we're in a task, I better do something like this. Because if I don't, bad things are going to happen. All right. So we basically kick off a bunch of ASP.NET Core. Yeah, AlphaGolf. It's the new thing. Is that how you do it? I don't think it is how you do it. So I want to wait for all the tasks. When all of the tasks are done. Which returns a task, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it returns a task. I suppose that means this has to be an async void. Well, when all. So player one, I might use C# later on. You might like functional languages. Is this going to work? I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see if this is going to work. What I'm hoping this will do is it'll rotate the numbers at different times. Or it'll just throw an exception. One of the two. New text is 45. Oh, maybe we need a number of characters. 2. The new text is that. Yeah. So that's going to want to be like, oh, I tell you what I want to do. I don't want to use this value here. I want to use this value. I think. Yeah, see, there we are. So this is where both numbers swap, right? So when I go between here and here, both numbers swap, and it's doing them at slightly different times. But only where it changes. So I think that's good. Okay, I like that. I like it. Let's have a bit of a closer look at this. Maybe I want to adjust the animation speed on that a little bit, but it's pretty much right. All right, so what would happen now if we put a flip label for this first one? Let's just try this, $1.45. think what we need to do is, let's try this. Might want to make this a little bit more elegant, but the idea here this is going to be a pretty nasty little method, but we'll improve it. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to get the price. And we're going to want to, should I just pass this in as instead as something like a double or something? And we'll put it in like, it's always going to have that format. So let's do this. Let's say this is where we're going to do like stupid substrings. Which always drive me crazy. We need the decimal location. And we'll do some brave non-defensive code here. So we'll say, let's go and get the -1 probably. They're going to give us $1. I don't know. Starting at the decimal location and going to no way that's going to be right. And then just do our cents flip. And here we'll say so a large is going to cost us $5. And once we have this kind of working, we'll refactor it. It's all very hard coded at the moment. Put in some values here that will do what we want. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here because there's no way this is going to be right. off by 1 errors all over the place. All right, what's our pro? Oh, this is... Oh my God, what's this thing? All right, cool. My windows went flying around the place. Sorry about that. There we are. What's our text price? Yeah. $4.25. Decimal location is at 1. That's incorrect already. And then this one is going to be from Is that right? I don't know. Code.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Let's have a look. See if we got it right this time. Decimal location is at 1. The dollar value is 4. The cents value, oh yeah, it's 25. All right. Let's see what this gives us. This is why UIs are so expensive. Oh, I did it again. It takes so long to get any of this stuff working. All right. All right. So 325, 425. So that's pretty cool. It's just flipping that one because they're both the same price. That's pretty cool. That doesn't totally suck, does it? Chat's like, yeah, it totally sucks. I could do with a little bit faster animation speed. So why don't I, just before we finish up, add in an animation speed here. And then go and pass this down to all the children. We have an animation speed. We don't have an animation speed down here. But we can create one. Okay, so we have an animation speed. So now what we can do is we can adjust these to use the animation speed. And my theory now is that we go and we do that. That's going to adjust the speed of the actual flipping of the characters. And we probably also want to make sure that when we're doing that funky little bit of code where we do the task, so we get a value between between 0.5 and the whole animation speed. Let's try that. And we'll give it a default value, I think. Let's just try this. Let's just go animation speed equals, say, 200. Animation speed of this one, we'll make it 200 as well. We'll give that a go.
Sometimes things don't work.
And sometimes things don't work. Sometimes we fail our build because we don't put in enough brackets. That didn't do good things. Let's do that.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr.
Hey, Aaron's.
Pots, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Welcome to the stream. I totes broke something. What did I break? Oh, maybe because let's have a look. All right, so we're setting the animation speed of that, and then this is coming through and it's saying, hey, I want to apply this. So I'm going to translate this from here to there using the animation speed. But it seemed to have lost it. So how you doing, Aaron's? Good, I hope. Super slows. Okay, that's good because that's what I told it to do. They're all animating at different speeds. I'm good, thanks, Aaron's. Just playing around with a bit of Xamarin.Forms. Let's see if this will work. Let's see if I go and give this 100. There we go. So yeah, I'm just trying to get this this effect here of having this dollar value change when I click on each of these that have different prices. So one's $3.25, one's $4.25, one's $5. Basically animating each of the characters individually, and at slightly different offsets. So we should be able to see it. I think that works pretty well. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to sort of reproduce this. And normally I'd probably do it with Skier Sharp, but I just thought I'd see if I can do it with a label. All right. So with that, I think I'm going to see if there's anyone else on to raid. We've got the basics of this going now. Let's have a look. Because I think we should be able to use exactly the same control for this bottom bit of text here as well. When it comes through here, basically animates there. All right. Got to put some bounds in this, right? All right. So, no worries, Bill. Good to see you as well. Let's see if there's anyone else who's streaming at the moment. We might want to go and raid. So let me know if you know anyone. Ionix Jr. is doing some work. Learn live stream test. Learn live stream test. Who is that? I know who you are. Yes, totally the wrong account. All right. Let's just ignore that. Let's have a look and see if we can find somebody to raid here. But before I do that, just to let you know, I should check in this code as well. In fact, learn live. Let me just show you what I've been doing, in case you didn't spot it. I basically got this this control down here, and I want each of these digits to rotate, but actually at different times. So ignoring the fact that this selection over here doesn't work, as I change the value, you can see that it's sort of it's actually rotating each of those numbers at different speeds. at random speeds, in fact. So it's kind of nice. That's all just using labels and animation and a collection of tasks. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So it was either that or do it in Skier Sharp. So yeah. Anyway, just to sign us off, just to let you know, and just to reinforce, this design that we're working on is this one sitting over here at Dribble. So next week I'll continue working on it, get a little bit further. We'll probably maybe be able to complete most of it. We'll put a bit of a view model, and also maybe I'll get a command for this. There we are. And there's a GitHub repo where I'll check in this code as well. But for the moment, I'm going to go and do some work, have some lunch. Let's find somebody to raid. No worries. Thanks, Ancient Coder. Ionix is doing some really cool stuff with calendars, but he's in Spanish. CM Griffing's always fun, but I think we raided him last time. Let me just take this over here and I'll see if there's anyone else I know. Or put your suggestions in the chat window. Codephobia? Is Codephobia streaming? Love a bit of Codephobia. Not sure. Ah, yes. Codephobia is streaming. Beautiful. All right. Well, let's set up a stream or set up a raid there. So, thanks everyone for joining in. I'm going to start a raid. Go and say hi to Codephobia. Have a good weekend. Everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you back here next week. And if not, have a Merry Christmas, because I got my Christmas lights up. All right, let's go and raid. Say hi. Bye for now.